We've got a lot to get through. When I was younger, E3 season was one of the highlights of the year for the video game industry, but with that gone, there's been a massive void left, and thankfully Jeff Keighley is back once again with Summer Game Fest to give us that information that we really want in the games industry and to really build up that hype going into the second half of the year. So what I want to do in this video was just kind of go over everything that was announced as best as I can, because there was quite a lot that was actually announced. Just share my thoughts on it, hopefully build up some hype for it as well. Show kicked off with Jeff coming out with the brightest yellow trainers I've seen in a long time, saying congratulations to a lot of the small developers, which was really cool to see, especially when you're getting recognition for games such as Repo, Schedule 1, and of course Clair Obscur Expedition 33. The first game up was Mortal Shell 2, and we got a look at some of the gameplay features with that, and it looks like it's got such a dark and gritty aesthetic, and it was a nice mix of cinematic and gameplay stuff here. It kind of carries on a bit from the first one in the sense it's the same type of game, obviously. It's something that I really wish I had played, and it's going to make me go back and try and find a way of playing that, whether it be on Game Pass or hopefully it's part of some subscription service that I have. If not, then I might have to look at picking up a copy, but it looks like it's going to be a really interesting title. Really dark, really gritty, and really gruesome. If you're a fan of that aesthetic, you know, I don't want to say it's a Souls-like game, but the whole sort of aesthetic that surrounds that genre, it looks like it's going to be right up your street. And then we got a Fortnite update, and I don't like Fortnite, I don't care for it really, but if you do, then that's fine, you're allowed your opinion even though it's wrong, but you're going to be getting some more Star Wars stuff coming through, so if that's your bag then congratulations, you've got some more things to look forward to. Hey, look, I can't say much, I play Warzone, alright? Jeff was then joined on stage by Hideo Kojima, and if you know anything about those two, you'll know that they're actually really good friends, so it's not a surprise to see them both together on stage. And Hideo was talking about Death Stranding 2. We all know it's coming, we all know it's coming out quite soon actually as well, but we got another trailer to try and build up some more excitement for it, and it featured two characters that we hadn't really seen before, I think. I'm gonna level with you here, okay? I didn't play the first one. I've got the first one on my shelf. I've got the director's cut downloaded on my PS5, and I really am looking to try it out, but I just don't have the drive to pretend to be a DHL delivery person, but I do order enough packages that I might need to, you know, try it out and see. Yeah, we saw two characters. They did say that we'd be seeing a bit more of them in some upcoming gameplay demos that they'd be doing and some like hands-on time with it, so we'll see what happens. If Death Stranding's your bag though, it looks like you've got something really interesting to look forward to, and you just know with Hideo Kojima behind it that the story is going to be just as wild as ever. And then a second host came out, and it was Lucy, one of the hosts of the Friends Per Second podcast, which is something that I would, you know, encourage a lot of you to check out if podcasts are your thing. And she introduced a game called Chronicles Medieval, and that's about all I can say about that game. I don't really know what's going on. We saw a tiny bit of gameplay towards the end of it. It looks like it's going to be some sort of medieval cavalry game. You're in charge of an army maybe. I don't want to speculate on it, but if it's your bag and you kind of like things like Kingdom Come Deliverance and stuff like that, then it might be worth looking into for you. Sonic Racing Crossworlds was next up, which was a kart racing game based in the Sonic universe, or so you think. Because we did get some characters introduced which aren't exactly from Sonic, being Joker from the Persona series, Hatsune Miku, and Steve from Minecraft at the end of it as well, amongst other characters as well I'm sure we're going to see throughout the franchise. Takashi Iizuka came out as well to share some more information on it, as well as drop the line that unlike another kart game, this one is going to feature crossplay, so we all know who he's talking about there, which is pretty cool though, because it means that if your friends are on different platforms and have it on different services, you're still going to be able to play together, so yeah, it's nice when that happens. Although what I will say is when you see the Sega logo appear on screen and it's not pronounced in the classic Sega, it just doesn't hit the same. Code Vein 2 was next up then. Now, I've not played the first one, but this has actually made me want to go back and play it, because there was a character in this whose face was like off, but then their head was stuffed with candles, and that was just hard, alright? It looks so cool. It looks like a really interesting title. There's also a cat girl in it. That's not the reason why it looked interesting, okay? It does look interesting, it does look fun. Something I'm gonna have to go back and check out the first one and see if I've got access to that as well. What I'm liking about Summer Game Fest so far is we've had a big mixture of gameplay and cinematic trailers as well, which is a bit different to what you see in a lot of these sort of big presentation situations. So yeah, I'm all for more stuff like this. Make me want to go back and check out a few older titles that I might have missed on, so you're doing a good job, Jeff. End of Abyss was next, which is like a isometric, dark, horror, atmospheric type of game, and yeah, it's a bit hard to say exactly how it plays. Next was a game which has got an art style which I absolutely love, and that was Mouse PI for Hire. And if you haven't seen this game before, it's got like that oldie cartoon style which you'd see with like early Disney type of stuff, mixed into like a 3D environment, which is already a really weird look, but it works so well. But this was just showing that Troy Baker is going to be one of the character voices in there. So another interesting look at a title which has really got my attention because it's just a really pretty looking game. And I mean pretty in the sense that it's not your standard looking FPS. It looks like it's going to be quite fun, kind of has that old-timey vibe to it, kind of like Cuphead, but I don't think every frame in this is hand-drawn like in that game. Game of Thrones War for Westeros was next, and that's about all I can tell you. We saw a cinematic with Jon Snow versus the Night King, but I'll be honest, I'm really not over Season 8. But that sucked. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat my words on that. Season 8 sucked, and it really ruined a lot of the hype that I had for it, and I think it's quite hard to try and claw back some of the fandom now that you've kind of ruined the story for it. Especially when in this trailer you see the Night King kill Jon Snow and he comes back as a White Walker. Like, it's not something well, I don't even know if it is for me or not because we didn't see any gameplay. Who knows? Atomic Heart 2 is next, and again, I haven't played the first one, but do trust me, I do play video games, okay? I'm not some type of poser or anything. It looks really fun. There's some of the light-hearted moments in there, some really cool looking like set pieces it looks like. And then some of the combat as well looks quite interesting and deep. It's gonna be something you have to check the first one out for again. Like the characters are really sort of, you know, iconic. When you look at them, you don't really forget them, which is why as soon as the two twin robots came on, I can remember them from the trailers for the first game. I was like, okay, cool, I can know what this is, but I don't know what it is, if you know what I mean. So it's something I want to learn a bit more about. It looks really cool. If you enjoyed the first one, I don't think you'll be disappointed with this one. We then got a look at another game in the Atomic universe, which was The Cube. Great title. It's about a cube that's above the world. Kind of like a Rubik's Cube that changes the size, and it's like an MMORPG game as well. So what that turns into, I'm not 100% on just yet. Before we go any further, I want to point out the elephant in the room, which is these glasses that are on my face. They're by a company called Gunnar. Now, I've been wearing these for a while now, and they really help when I'm sat in front of the computer. This is not an ad, by the way, but if you are interested in learning as to why I'm wearing these, I've got a review up on Rapid Reviews UK, which I'll link in the card and I'll put it down in the description as well. So if you want to learn more about it, just follow the link, have a read of what I think about it, and you understand why I'm wearing it. I'm in front of my computer a lot, so it does help with my eye strain. But again, like I must really stress, this is not an ad. However, Gunnar, we saw two new characters get announced from Marvel Cosmic Invasion as well, Rocket Raccoon and She-Hulk. Marvel Cosmic Invasion is a side-scroll and beat 'em up that looks like a classic game, which looks really, really fun. And I really can't wait to come out. More characters coming out is always going to be a good thing. I really hope the roster is bolstered by a really great selection. And yeah, it just looks like it's going to be a really, really good bit of fun. I say fun a lot. Video games should be fun. If you remember a short while back, I shared my thoughts on Onimusha 2's remaster. And we got another look now at Onimusha Way of the Sword, which is the next game in that franchise, and it just looks brutal. Samurai hacking action. The combat in that game was always really good, so I'm really excited to see what we get with this. But yeah, it just looks like a really good advancement in the series. I was a big fan of the second game. If you check out my video, you'll understand my thoughts on it. And this looks like it's going to be more of that same, but in the modern world, and it looks really cool. I say modern world, it's still got the same setting, but I mean like the game is going to be more modern. We then got a look at a game which blew me away because it was something which I could not believe was a game. If you've ever played South Park, Stick of Truth, or Fractured But Whole, you'll understand that when you see a game which looks exactly like its source material, it's really hard to decipher between what is the game and what isn't the game. And this was like that. It's a game called Felt That Boxing, and it kind of looks like Wonder Chosen meets Avenue Q. The whole art style looks impressive. The way that there doesn't seem to be a differential between cutscenes and game is always really fun. The gameplay that we did see looked hilarious. I'm excited for this one, and I really want to learn more about it. It's really hard to watch a game that comes out that is a murder mystery game and not instantly think that it's just a version of Among Us. And I know that's a really cynical and really narrow way to look at games, but when Killer Inn came out and it said it was a murder mystery game, yes, it looks really interesting how it's being done and it's multiplayer. I couldn't stop thinking it just looks like a more grown-up version of Among Us. I'm not going to be rushing out to grab this title. If this is a great multiplayer game, then by all means, if you've got a close circle of friends that you want to play with, then it looks like it could be a really good laugh, but it's just not going to be one that's going to be for me. Arc Raiders was next, and I feel like I've been living under a rock because I don't think I've heard much, if anything, about this game, but we've got a release date for it, so that's cool. Doom was always a franchise which my father loved. wasn't something that I super got into, but I did really enjoy the first film, and it reminds me I need to see the second one. But we got another look at Dune's new MMO game that is coming out, which is called Dune Awakening. If you're a fan of the Dune franchise, it's really hard when I'm saying Dune to not want to say Doom. Game-wise, it doesn't really appeal to me. If it does look like something else up your street, then I encourage you to check it out. The story in those, like, in that franchise has always been really cool. Chrono Odyssey was next up, and the theming on this game looks incredible, and the fact that you can use time as a weapon also looks like a really interesting, like, mechanic for it. It is something I want to learn more of, and if I can find a way of playing a demo or getting early access to it, then I'm probably going to be going down that route, because it did look like something I'd really like to try out. Wuthering Waves was next. I don't really know what it's about, other than there was one character in there that's got a really, really annoying anime voice, which I am not looking forward to. So again, if anime games are your thing, then crack on. Mio Memories in Orbit was next, and we've seen this before, but I didn't realise we hadn't seen much of it. It kind of looks like a Metroidvania style game with a little bit of like Super Meat Boy inspired platforming in there as well. I'm really for it. I think it looks really cool. I love a Metroidvania game, and I like the idea of like the, you know, really aggressive platforming that Super Meat Boy kind of has as well. So bring it on, I say. Now, if you know me, you know I'm a sucker for a different type of art style, and stop motion is always something which is going to have a special place in my heart. Out of Words was next, which is one of those two-player games, which is kind of like split fiction and stuff like that. Looks like your characters can't talk and the whole world is out to help you. I'm not really sure what the story's about, but the platforming and everything in it looks like a really good take on the genre. We'll see how it plays out, but with the art style alone, you've got my interest. Next up, we got another look at Mafia: The Old Country, and it's a game that's coming out very soon. Mafia's a franchise which is steeped in history, and if you like that type of game and you like that style, I don't think you can go wrong with this. I don't know what I'm going to be doing about this game. If I can get a copy of it, then great. If not, then I might have to wait and just see what it comes out onto in terms of like Game Pass or something like that. Yeah, it does look like it's going to be a really fun game. I think it was Mafia 2 that I rinsed when I was younger, so yeah, bring it on. Now, we just talked about a game which requires you to play with 2 players, and we've got another one, and this one is Lego Voyagers, and this looks nothing like any other Lego game that I have seen. Gone is the over-the-top comedy and aesthetics that you'd see in like the Lego Star Wars or Lego Harry Potter or Lego Lord of the Rings games. This looks cute as heck. You play as 2 bricks that seem to build things to solve puzzles. You work together. You know, it just looks really fun. It looks really cute, and it looks like something that I'm gonna want to play. I'm not a massive like Lego fan. Like, I don't go and build the, you know, the whole big units for it. I would love to. I grew up playing with loads of Lego as a kid. When my dad was away, he'd bring back Lego from trips for me. This is just something that looks really cute, and it's the best word to describe it is cute. That was the first thing that came to my mind, which is how adorable the characters look in this game, and I'm here for it. Nicktoons and Dice of Destiny was next, which kind of looked like a Nicktoons game with some sort of D&D hack and slash elements to it. I've got a funny feeling it's going to be the generation of Nicktoons after my childhood. SpongeBob was there, and that's a little bit older than what I am, so yeah, I'm not in the demographic for this one. We got another look at Lies of P Overture, which actually got a shadow drop, which is really cool. Lies of P is a love letter to the Souls series. If you haven't played it, I would really encourage you to. It's a really, really fun, really hard, really dark game. And if you love Demon Souls, Dark Souls type of games, you're gonna love this. Like, it is quite literally a love letter to it. It's a game that I started to play when it was on Game Pass. It was removed from Game Pass, so I kind of need to find a way of getting it again. But it's something which I really want to complete and then really try this extension for it. But yeah, I loved it. I really think you would check it out as well. Fractured Blooms was next, and it was described as Doki Doki Literature Club meets Silent Hill. And that's all you had to tell me for me to say that I would not be touching this. It starts off looking like a farm sim and like a home sort of life sim, quickly descends into madness and quickly became very unnerving. I will be keeping so far away from this because I am a massive wimp. They had like a bunch of anime games get announced with Blade and Soul Neo, Blade and Soul Heroes, Crystal Atlas and One Punch Man, and then Seven Deadly Sins Origins. I couldn't tell you what any of these games were individually. Together they all kind of look like they blended into one. I'm not the biggest fan of like anime games in general, not because I don't like anime, I just don't like the games that come with them usually. They're usually really weird and really intricate, and so yeah, I'm going to be passing on all 4 of these. They look like something up your street, then great. If you know what these franchises are, then even better, but yeah, for me, I was just kind of lost at this point. Like, if you tuned out for a few moments and then tuned back in, you wouldn't be able to tell it was a different game, in my opinion anyway. I could be wrong, I usually am. State of Unreal then got a shout out as well, which mentions the Witcher 4 sort of tech demo which was there, and if you want to know my opinions on that, you can check the link down below or check the card as well. But yeah, that was nice to see that get a shout out, and it went over a few of the things that happened there, which was really cool to see, like all these sort of conventions sort of converging together. Jurassic Park Evolution 3 was then shown, which, if you don't know what that is, it's like a park maker, I guess. Like, think of it as theme park, but for Jurassic Park. I don't know why people keep on insisting in making these parks when they always go wrong. Celia from Yacht Club Games then came out, and that's the team that's behind the Shovel Knight series. And if you don't know who Celia is, then I would recommend that you listen to the Spawn Wave podcast, because she's on there as well as a few other shows, and she's got some really interesting takes on the game industry, because she's got a lot of knowledge from the inside. But she was out there to present the world of Mina the Hollower. It looks like a incredible game. It's got some really heavily like Zelda, Game Boy inspired like graphics, and it looks really cool. It made me sit there and go, great, I need to get my hands on this right now. And there's a demo available on Steam, so if that is something that you want to try out, you can. I would really recommend people do try this out, because it looks like a really fun game. The Shovel Knight franchise has been so cool, and seeing them go on to something else now as well is only going to be even better. I'm really excited for this one. Carl Bosman came out then and handed Jeff a letter, and it was a letter to tell him about Deadpool VR game. Deadpool in this case is not voiced by Ryan Reynolds, unfortunately, but he is voiced by Neil Patrick Harris, who's just as good if you ask me. It looks like it's going to be really cool. VR games are always something which I'm a little bit on the fence with. Unfortunately though, this one is only available on MetaQuest, so unless they do adapt it to come to the PlayStation VR 2, it's not going to be something that I'm going to be able to play. But if you like Deadpool, if you like VR games, I think you're going to have a blast with this one. I wasn't lying when I said there's a lot to get through. Dying Light the Beast was up next, another game in the Dying Light franchise. For me, it's going to be something I'm going to be missing. Again, it's a horror game. Are we surprised that I'm skipping on this? I don't know anything about the first Dying Light game other than I do not want to play it because I will be scared. Full stop. But if you like the first one, this one also is going to be more of that for you, which is really good. It's about the Baron and he's experimented on humans and it's all going awry, and yeah, I was scared watching the trailer. I am a huge wimp, okay? We had another look at Mixtape, which looks like it's going to be a love letter to sort of teenage memories, and it feels like it's going to make me feel nostalgic for a childhood I didn't really experience over here in the UK, and I get the funny feeling it's going to make me cry. The art style looks really cool, looks really impressive. The soundtrack is going to be slapping as well, so yeah, I'm interested in it. I just want to know how I'm going to be able to play it and how I'm going to be emotionally destroyed by it as well. Tower and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree was next, which was like an isometric roguelike game, which was quickly followed up by Axe of Blood, which is a beat-em-up game, which has got some interesting twists for the combat where there's like some X-ray moves, kind of like Mortal Kombat style, where it shows you bones being broken. It's a really small indie team which is putting that one together though, so it'll be interesting to see how that is received. Scott Pilgrim EX was next, and I'm ashamed to say I've never watched the film. Probably should have, given the fact that, you know, I love video games and it's meant to be all about that, but yeah, I never watched that film. Don't know what it was about the film that put me off it, but yeah, I just never sat down to watch it, which means I never played the first game, so yeah, but it does look really fun, and actually watching this trailer made me go, oh, I probably should check that out. So yeah, maybe one of my watches this week is going to be the Scott Pilgrim movie. The First Descendant Breakthrough was next. That's about all I can say from what we were shown. Then we had a look at Scum, which is like a first-person survival, crafting, shooting, online game, I guess, but some of the humour doesn't look like it's going to sit with me, but I'm not really sure what to make of it, if I'm honest. Mind's Eye is next, and it's created by a team which was headed up by someone who used to work at Rockstar. Not 100% what to make of this game. There's been a lot of controversy about it recently, so tread with caution, I would say, and do a bit more research on what this game is like, and maybe wait for reviewers to pick it up and share their thoughts on it first. IO Interactive then came to the stage to present an additional mission for Hitman Lord of Assassination. That is a tongue twister and a half. But it's a Casino Royale themed mission, which looks really interesting. It kind of bridges that gap between the new Bond game that they're bringing out and the Hitman franchise. And it was shadow dropped as well after the event. Lego Party was up next, which is exactly what it sounds like on the tin. It's just Mario Party, but with a Lego twist. So if you like party games and you like Lego, I don't really see how you could not like this game. We had an FPS up next called Wildgate. It looked like it was set in space. Not 100% on what we're meant to be doing. It kind of gave me like Quidditch vibes. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm sure we'll learn more about that in the future. The team behind Guacamelee were up next, and they showed off Blighted. They also got a really interesting sort of isometric game. Could be quite fun to check out. I think it's one that you can play in co-op as well. So yeah, I'm all for games that kind of push the boundaries of how we expect the genre to go. Ill was up next. And Ill is what I felt looking at it. It's a horror game. You know where I'm going. It looks terrifying. It looks absolutely disgusting. In a good way, obviously, for a horror game, but it looks like it's made me go, no, I'm not doing that. I mean, there's a scene with a giant baby at the end of it chasing you. He does punt the baby at the end, which is, you know, an interesting way to deal with that situation. But yeah, the game looks so scary. I'm not touching that. I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole. No, you could pay me to play it, but I'm not, I mean, unless you want to pay me to, but no. Mecha Break was up next, which was a game which did really well in the betas apparently, and we got a final look at and a release date for it. It made me really wish that I got into Gundam as a kid, because I know full well I would have been so deep in getting like the actual, like, gunpla they're called, like where you actually make the models and stuff. I would have had a really good time doing that, but I'm actually quite glad I didn't, because I also would have spent so much money on it. But we got a final trailer for it with some more detail on a release date. Well, they didn't show us any gameplay, and as someone who hadn't seen much of the game before, it would have been really nice to see some of it actually working, but I just hope the release of the game lives up to the expectations set by the beta. Infinitesimal was next, and I hope I pronounced that right, because it's a bit of a quirky name. You're playing as a bug, but with spaceships and robots. I've never seen that sort of genre before, especially on the scale that they're doing in this one. So yeah, I think it's quite a quirky take on it. I'm quite interested in that, and I'd like to see some more about it and how it plays. Apart from the fact there were robot spiders and they look massive and really scary, and I really hope they're not a real thing, but I guess in Australia anything is possible. So the characters that are coming in Season 3 of Street Fighter 6 were announced next, and they were announced in a way which made me chuckle. And Kenny Omega, who's a professional wrestler, was then dressed up as all of them, and we're getting Alex, Sea Viper, Ingrid and Sagat. As someone who loves fighting games and loves playing Street Fighter, I can't wait for these. I'm really excited to get stuck in with them, and I really hope it's not long before we can get our hands on these characters, especially Sagat. Last Flag was next, and it just can't look a really big capture the flag game, which it pretty much was, and it looks like a cross between sort of TF2 and Fortnite with the graphical style, and maybe like a hero shooter element to it as well. I'm not stoked on it. It didn't make me feel excited, but if it looks like something you're going to enjoy, then, you know, crack on. Wu-Chang Fallen Feathers was next, another Souls-like game that looks incredible. I've already got the preloaded bits done from Game Pass, or like waiting to be done from Game Pass, so I'm really excited to get stuck in with it. It's going to be a really good game, I feel. I'm hoping so anyway. The art style looks incredible, the combat looks fluid, the bosses look so intricate. Yeah, pump that into my veins. I never thought I'd say these words, but we're getting a new Wu-Tang Clan game. Wu-Tang Clan Rise of the Deceiver is coming out, and you have to go and find and save all the members of the clan. I cannot wait for this. That type of hip hop was something that I grew up on. My cousin loved it, got me into it. I absolutely love it. It's so cool to finally get a game coming out in the modern era that kind of embodies that sort of culture, or at least plays into the sort of fun side of it. And it's going to be really interesting to see what it plays like and what we can do with it. And I just know that the soundtrack is going to absolutely slap. Wu-Tang is forever. Guild Wars 2 got another update, and Guild Wars 2 is a game that I used to play. I played so much Guild Wars 1. Like, Guild Wars 1 was my game when I was like 16, 17. Everyone else was playing World of Warcraft. I was playing Guild Wars because I refused to pay a monthly subscription for a game. I have so many good memories of playing that game. But then Guild Wars 2 came out, and it just didn't hit the same. There was something missing with it. I don't know what it was, but it didn't grab me. If you still play Guild Wars 2, then more power to you. You've got some more exciting content coming. But yeah, for me, it was just something I could not get into. The Epic Store was back on screen then with a game called Mongil Stardive, which has got cats and cat girls, but it's got cats in it, so it looks really good. And it's good because of the cats again, not because of the cat girls. They're just there as a byproduct of the game. There's a lot of other things announced for the Epic Store, a bunch of other games, sales, discounts, so if you've got access to it, you're in for a treat. Into the Unwell was next, and it's got an art style very similar to that old sort of cartoon style, very reminiscent of like Cuphead games and stuff like that. Not 100% what it's going to play like, but the characters look really interesting, and it's definitely something, if you put that art style in a game, I'm going to want to check it out and have a look at it. So yeah, it looks like something I'm going to definitely pay a bit more interest to and hopefully get my hands on. Oh boy. Splitgate 2. Don't come out on stage trying to be an edgelord, because all it does is it makes you look like a douchebag. I'll say that with my chest, like the man looked like an idiot up there. Yeah, I'm all for making first-person shooter games great again, but you chose a hat and a design which mimics something which is a very political statement. It mimics something which you know is going to get people riled up, and people talking about your game is obviously what you want. However, don't also come on stage and say you are sick and tired of playing all the same Call of Duty games and then just make Apex Legends. Honestly, it was just a douche move, and it made you look like an idiot. I know I'm no one on the internet, I'm just someone here sharing my thoughts, but yeah, ultimately, like, I lost a lot of respect that I had for that studio, because I thought the idea behind Splitgate 1 was really interesting, but yeah, just stupid. Stranger Than Heaven next, which is a detective game. Looks like it's set in 1943. I don't really know much if this is from a franchise or anything like that. It looks quite interesting. It looks like something which is going to have like a morality system to it, with the ability to, you know, forgive or not forgive certain enemies that you fight. We'll have to wait and see more on it, but yeah, interesting. And the show closed with Resident Evil Requiem, or Resident Evil 9 if you want to call it that, which looks like it's taking place after the nukes have hit in Raccoon City at the end of Resident Evil 2. Who stars in it, we'll have to wait and see. How it's going to be played, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know if it's going to go back to first person or if it's going to try the third person angle again. I really hope it does third person. Again though, I probably won't play it if it's too scary because I'm a wimp. But if you're a Resident Evil fan, then you're eating good. And that's Summer Games Fest. I appreciate you sticking with me throughout this video. It's been very long and these lights are very bright and very warm. There's been a lot that's been announced, and it's events like this that make me feel excited to be part of the video games industry. Even though I'm such a tiny part, I'm still having fun sharing my thoughts on games and being able to let you all know about some of these titles that you may not see. And I wanted to cover as much as I possibly could from this presentation, because there's a lot of stuff that kind of gets brushed under the sort of radar and people don't see the smaller games, and I really wanted to try and share what I could. I would encourage you to go watch the full video online. There's also a Day of the Devs video that came up after it, which goes into a bit more detail with some of the smaller titles, as well as shows off a few other titles that weren't mentioned in the main presentation. So Summer Game Fest may have come and gone, but this E3 season still lives on. And we've got a lot more to cover, and I've got a lot more videos to do. So if you excuse me, I'm gonna crack on with that. I have to stress that I do not love cat girls, okay? They just seem to be in a lot of games, alright?